Can't we just not do that, but instead watch
You
the
just
movie?
want to ruin it at the end.
The
It's one
watching
more
the
book.
movie, right? The watching the movie was like taking the edge off because you've been whining the whole time, but we're not going to undo the entire premise of this section of our podcast because you can't be bothered to read. Like,
And
that was the
speaking of
point. The
under-
point was the reading.
Knows that we don't even know he can read. He listens to audiobooks.
But
True,
did he
but-
manage to even listen to an audiobook
No.
for book 5? He's had like 6 weeks.
They don't have
I
the
mean,
Swedish
I procrastinated
translation.
until yesterday. I managed to finish it like an hour after Justin did, but it's
Wow. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I had all but 10 minutes done. So I was like, oh shit, yeah, I better go finish this. And I'm like, damn it. I should have just finished this the prior session. I probably got interrupted by children or something, but you know. Yeah.
I read like 90% of book 5 yesterday. So
Yikes.
I
Yeah.
definitely procrastinated.
So but it's fresh is important. Like, look at the silver lining.
Yeah.
Of course you procrastinated. We're all human beings. Like,
I was going to say, if anybody's
You
going to
even know me?
procrastinate, it should be the person who's technically leading the show and therefore has to keep us on track, quote unquote.
it's hurting cats. As long as you move in that general direction, fine. You know, like,
I should start
I'm thinking more like hurting sloths, but okay.
Yeah, but you can just pick up sloths and move them. You can't necessarily do that with a cat.
yeah, I don't know. According to my 7-year-old, sloths are insanely strong and could pick me up. I don't buy it, but you know.
I
That's
got to be
what-
honest. I think your 7-year-old is a lot smarter than you are.
Well, sure, but
Surely he's like,
you know.
he still goes to school. He's getting information.
And I would really,
Relevant
really,
scientific information. And are you?
I would really pay good money to see you in a cage fight with a few sloths now.
also game. But I'm just going to go out here and say that if you ever need to worry about which one of us is smarter, one of us lives at home rent free and doesn't have a job, and the other one works for a living. So
So the
clearly
one
he's
living-
smarter.
Clearly
you
he's
know.
smarter. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, would you rather fight one horse-sized sloth or 100 duck-sized sloths? That's the real question.
you mixed so many things.
I was going to say, you didn't do that right at all.
Yeah, it's a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, and yeah, like
So it's either one.
Sloths in the south.
It's either 100 horse-sized
100
sloths
sloths
or
that are like-
plus-size horse.
No, but I want to use the duck as the standard of measurement and the horse as the standard of measurement, and then just put in different animals.
would you rather fight one apple-sized duck or 100 orange-sized apples?
I'm taking.
Yeah,
it.
that's
I think I can take
yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah, the apples are like defenseless here.
that's I'm just saying that's basically what Andreas said. Like you're like all over the place, man. Like just if it's going to be a standard, pick a standard. But yeah,
How
like
far in?
I
3 minutes. Listen here, you little shit.
An apple-sized duck doesn't even. You can't even make a meal out of that. That's terrible.
I would fight 100 smaller creatures. Period. The end. Like, so you use different tactics fighting just one person than you do fighting a crowd anyway. But yeah, like, P.S. Horses are mean if they want to be, and ducks are extra fucking mean, and you do not want to fight a horse-sized duck. So, like, if you haven't seen a duck fight, don't fight the horse-sized duck. Like,
Also, corkscrew penis. You don't want a horse-sized version of that.
I mean, I'm not going to judge, but
No, I am. I
But no.
don't want. I don't want to be near that. I'm out.
yeah. So anyway, the Battle of Pelennor Fields. Would you rather fight one?
Which is very much like
Umakill-sized-
100 horse-sized ducks.
Right.
If we're taking the Mumakil into account.
Like, talk
Is
about
this a cooler battle? Well, I guess that's more movie than book.
Than
Like,
Helm's
is this
Deep.
Is this a cooler battle than Helm's Deep?
yes.
I don't know. I like Helm's Deep more.
Helm's Deep is fine, but you don't have Theoden yelling death for half of it until he
I was going to
dies from
say,
it.
the way I would parse
And-
this, I think Helm's Deep is the better, like, battle. I think Pelennor Fields is the better overall scene.
I don't remember this movie very well at all, so it's been good for me to be able to just read the book. And I'll actually be surprised when I get to the movie because I remember bits of it, but not.
I think Helm's Deep does a really
Not
good
be
job
sure.
of going back and forth between the highs and the lows of a pitched battle and a siege and all that
Sure.
stuff. And I think Pelennor is mostly great first moment, then low moment, then really great final. So it's like overall more emotionally
What do you
impactful.
count as like the final of the Battle of Pelennor Fields? What do you count as the final? It's like them.
When they leap off the ship and the Army of the Dead arrives, that's the end.
That is
No.
okay.
The
That's
scrub bubbles
a really
of
good
death.
moment.
The battle was already done by then, right?
Some of it.
Because
Well,
what was
I
the
mean,
turning
they were
point
in
of
the
the Battle
city,
of Pelennor
so-
Fields?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if you
but
want to
what was
count
the
them
turning point?
breaking into the city as no longer the Battle of the Fields.
No. It's not like a tricky question. It's, well, unless you want to go with the whole like I'm no man thing, but like when they kill the Witch King, that battle is basically lost at that point. Like that's the
But
turning
the
point.
Southerners were
Like-
still there. The Southerners, the Easterners,
Sure.
they were still
I was
there,
gonna
and
say,
they were
I
not
mean,
being
if
affected.
the city's still
And-
overrun.
Yeah,
They would have gotten there. Well, he had kicked in the front gates before he decided to backpedal out and go fight Gandalf, right? That's what pulls him back out as Gandalf calls him out.
no, Gandalf was at the gate holding him off.
Okay, so who is it that draws him back out then? Because he basically kicks in the gate and then he goes back outside.
The fortune of the battle had turned. Sunlight was starting to come in, and then the Witch King went out to face Theoden,
Okay.
killed most of Theoden and his people, and
Sure.
then got killed by Eowyn
It's
and Merry.
because Theoden
I like that killed most of Theoden, but like not all of Theoden.
Right. I
Well,
mean,
he's
the
surprised
horse
for-
finished the job, so, like, but yeah. So, in my opinion, though, that's the turning point of the battle right there. Like, yes, like the reason why I think the Battle of Pelennor Fields is a better battle between the two is because it's like all of Middle Earth versus all of Middle Earth. It's like everything, right? You've got the Southrons, the Easterlings, the Mumakil, you got the Riders of Rohan, you've got the ghosts, you've got hell, there's a dwarf there for no reason, you've got literally everybody, right, fighting everybody. I can understand why people would say like the Battle of Helm's Deep is a better battle in the sense that it's like it's much more medieval. It's a very much more like if you pretend that one side of them isn't orcs and is it about to get their ass handed to them by a wizard, then it's a medieval battle, right? Including breaching the wall, getting into the mechanics of it. It's fantastic. I love the Battle of Helm's Deep. So don't, we're pitting one against the other. But the fact that you've got all of the pieces involved with the Battle of Pelennor Fields, is why I say it's a better thing. Horses versus giant fucking elephants, like wraiths. It's, all of it. But yeah, like, in my opinion, I think Mordor was going to win that battle until the Witch King got killed. Basically,
Yes.
is that like he was more than a match for Gandalf. It seemed he personally, basically, I mean, obviously they had Grond and whatever, but like he more or less personally pushed in the gates and was leading the assault on the city. Are a bunch more people going to die, even with like if the wraiths don't show up? Sure. But I don't think they were going to win because that's the point of Gondor, of Minas Tirith is, they're meant to, there's only 7 more gates between you and the top, right? So like, unless the Southrons had a Grond in their pocket and didn't let anybody know, like they weren't going to get past the first gate. So not without the Witch King, excuse me. So
Just catapult a few Mumakils into it. You'll be fine.
right. Yeah. So
They're busy catapulting heads.
yeah, which it's just
Yeah, as a scare tactic, it's like gruesome.
yeah,
It works.
Oh yeah.
Totally off topic, but I nearly fucked up.
oh
That doesn't sound like you at all.
No, that's not sounding me at all. Actually, I put on potatoes for potato salad for later, and I forgot about it in the podcast start. It's like, oh shit,
nice.
the potatoes.
My spinach puffs.
I saved them. They're good.
Yeah. oh great, thanks Kronk.
We should watch that
We did watch that.
again.
What have
Yeah,
you watched?
I mean-
I don't have the chat open.
This is the chat, sir. It's a podcast. If it's not happening in the air,
Yeah, if it's not coming out of your mouth,
happening.
it's not happening.
Yeah,
I
right.
thought it was you were commenting something on
No, we were just commenting on you. You were the entertainment. We were the commentary.
Yeah, right. It's a reference to Emperor's New Groove. You were being very
You
creepy
watched
then.
with us.
Yeah. You were like, my spinach puffs, and ran out of the room,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was the reference.
Yes.
Look at
So
I
anyway.
actually got the reference today.
And all it took was
You've
having to
seen
watch
the
the movie
movie.
with us.
Right.
Oh, I love that movie. Hold on, I've watched that movie dozens of times.
I've
before
only
doing
watched it
it.
when I watched it originally and then for the podcast, so I don't remember that well.
Filthy casual.
Sorry.
You've been with us a long time, and I mean a really long time. So anyway.
All right. Back on topic. Back to battles and.
It doesn't even
Gondor.
start with Pelennor Field, so I don't know what we're doing. Like, the director's supposed to read it chapter by chapter. That's how this goes. So,
but you guys nearly revolted, so I
yeah,
stopped doing that.
It's a joke.
No,
Everybody
we yell at you. The crowd thinks that you're actually really just messing things up for us, and then we go back to what we're doing.
We just said it kind of could stunt the conversation a little bit sometimes.
All four of our fans were like, "Oh God, no!" So
let's see. How about we start with Faramir then, and everything that he goes through. He's a nice little
every conversation.
Okay,
let's start with
Faramir, more like
I like Faramir.
The one of the two good humans in the book, almost.
I would really like to know who you are leaving out of this. I assume the other is Aragorn.
Faramir. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay,
Aragorn was also a good guy.
What's wrong with Éomer?
Yeah.
Éomer's a good dude.
Éowyn.
Yoden also is a good
Éowyn
dude. He
is
just
not a
was
dude.
mind whammied.
Oh, good point. I was thinking human.
So
It was
Like she
Because the
announces that
prophecy
whole
had
fact.
said,
She announces
no
very
human.
specifically, "I am not a dude," and then stabs someone.
Which is
like, as far as battle cry goes, like Tolkien was way ahead.
I
of
don't
the
believe
Me
in
Too
fair.
movement.
I am not a dude.
Right?
Can't
Yeah.
top
Just
those.
like.
Mhm.
Like, dude's monologuing, and what a classic way to shut that down. Like, no weapon can harm me, no man can kill me. Well, convenient, because I'm no man.
See,
So-
the prophecies have to be super specific. No man can kill me. It's just like if no human can kill me, but then any elf or anything. It's like no living creature can kill me. Oh, we've got ghost, but still, it's
3
Prophecy's
hours
gotten
later,
specific.
Sauron's like, okay, and no frog, elf, butterfly, dwarf,
mistletoe.
man. Yeah.
Right? Like he's got this parchment written
Sword,
all in black
dagger.
speech, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Have I
exactly.
covered all my bases?" And Saruman's sitting there as his lawyer, is like,
What about Ents? You should put Ents on. He's like, fuck. All right,
No,
we'll
see,
start
even-
over.
It depends on when they're writing this contract, because Saruman totally forgot that Ents were a fucking thing until they were on his doorstep.
Top 10 mistakes made by supervillains. Forgetting about the Ents has got to be on there somewhere.
Right. Okay, that needs to be on the evil overlord list. Don't forget about the Ents. Like, if it's not on there, it needs to be. So.
Somebody should have given him a copy of the Lorax, and he would have known, don't mess with the trees.
Beware the trees.
Yeah. My name is Pippin, and I speak for the trees.
Beware the Ides of March and the fucking Arbory.
Right, but Faramir.
Yes, please,
Yes.
Faramir. Speak of Faramir.
So there was some big to do at Osgiliath, which I guess was covered in the other book, and then he gets back to Gondor and he tells everything to Denethor, and he's basically told, "Go kill yourself."
Well,
Man,
that's
I
a
hate
little
that. Talk about it.
oversimplification, but
It's
It
an
works
opening
out
for
that
you.
way.
Fucking Denethor. Nobody
Yeah.
likes Denethor.
Denethor is a good bad guy, and like I mean, it's clear from the book that he's warped, like Sauron's warped his mind because he keeps looking in the Palantir because he thinks he's good enough to look in the Palantir, and so Denethor, like most people, was arrogant, thought he could handle it, gets his butt handed to him psychically, and completely loses his shit at the opportune moment because that's what Sauron was trying to do,
Yeah, it does
So-
seem, to Denethor's credit, he did seem to be fine with it up until he thought his other son was going to die. That seemed
Right.
to, like Pippin pointed out, like that's when something changed, was when Faramir was near dead.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just trying to think like
So now,
if
so
there would have
since he went
been a
since he went bonkers, he was just like, I'm really gonna make sure my son's dead.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
well, yeah, he just got it in his head that he was dead. Period. Right, and I mean, you could
Well,
make
and
the
that if he
argument,
wasn't, it was. I mean, look at what was on the horizon. So
right?
might as well
And
just
you
go
could-
out.
Where is logical. It's just
Right.
not
It's
the correct
medieval
action.
medicine too, right? It's like he ain't coming back from that typically, so it's like he's not wrong. You're just delaying the inevitable by 3 days by not burning him alive. Like, why was that the answer though? That's the main thing. It's like, so. But I think just in Denethor's head, he was dead, and there was nothing anybody was going to convince him otherwise. That was the disconnect. So
He wanted to become a wielder of the secret fire, and this is how he thought he could.
yeah. Obviously, the secret to fire is not a bonfire, because then everybody would be doing it. Denethor, jeez.
No,
So.
Something. Lords of Cinder. I'm sure. Link the fire. Okay, I'll stop.
Jeez. Yeah. But I mean, like, and then he kind of like realizes at the end, right? Like, oh shit, what have I done? But
Does he?
I thought the movie played it pretty straight for that. That's
Well-
mainly what my mental notes say, because like up to and including him realizing and running 500 yards off the end of the fucking tower.
But he
because,
didn't run off
you
the
know.
tower in the book. He got on the pyre that was burning, and he stayed holding the Palantir until he wasn't a thing anymore.
Gotta admit,
I
that's
thought
pretty,
he
like,
ran
pretty
off.
badass.
still.
He didn't run off the tower. And then there was
Yeah,
a line
because,
saying
like,
that
they
anytime
still
they were
had
looking
to-
to that Palantir ever again, all they saw was old hands holding it.
Oh, right. Okay, I do remember that line, but I still also remembered the line like, and thus passes Denethor, like,
Yes.
because I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, Gandalf
So-
did say that, but he got onto the pyre that was burning. They had pulled Faramir off.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah. I'll say, like, in and around all of that stuff, like one of the main deviations that I found was like Gandalf was not nearly as mad about it in the book as he seemed to be in the movie, about like Pippin swearing his fealty and just all of that stuff. And there's a lot better battle of wits between Denethor and Gandalf in the book, where like Gandalf is trying to convince him, but I guess, I don't know, does he not realize that he's got some kind of psychic damage, or does he not have a way to fix it like he did with Theoden, because he doesn't ever seem to attempt it, and it seems pretty obvious that he's under Sauron's thumb at least a little bit.
I'm
So-
Yeah, well, I think it's probably the difference between the outright possession and what would be accumulated psychic damage. In the same way that he can't really heal the mystical damage that Frodo has. He's,
Sure.
he's got
yeah,
to
there's a difference
hook
that
up to the Undying Lands.
Saruman and Wormtongue did it to Theoden, and Theoden was still there somewhere buried deep, versus Denethor, his own hubris, did it to himself. It's something that's much harder to cure, because it was like something that he accepted in his own reality, not something that was put upon him.
Yeah, like if you took away the Palantir and put him in isolation for a few months where you just kind of chilled with him, you could probably do it, but you didn't really have that time, and you can't just whack him over the head with a stick and be like, do better.
Right.
Well, I mean, you could, but there's only so many times you can do that before people get bored.
Yeah. It is an interesting kind of contrast, I guess, versus so much of these books about like honor, and especially with this book of you must fulfill your oaths, that then Pippin was put in the position, he was free from his service, but he had to put it on Baragond of like, if you continue following your lord and your rules and your laws and your oaths, you're following a madman and he's going to do the wrong thing. And so he had to choose to break his oath, and Baragond even had to kill a porter, but that was going to try to continue helping burn Faramir. I like that dude.
I mean,
Very
and,
small.
and should we talk about the obvious like pro-monarchy stuff going on here, where like Denethor has been doing the job for decades and still isn't good enough because Aragorn's there, and it's like, what are Aragorn's qualifications, guys? He's born
the heir.
into it, like,
Power prophecy.
total propaganda piece, man. So if the sarcasm's not clear enough.
Hashtag Aragorn's not my king. Hashtag Denethor for press.
Right.
No, it's that other guy that he's. Actually, I don't think they deal with it in this book. I think it's in the next one because there's another heir that. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's essentially like Aragorn's going to end up delaying his entry into the city because he doesn't want to be seen as like just marching in as a conquering.
He doesn't want to
king.
show up as a conqueror. Yeah.
And then there's also someone else with a claim that they kind of are going to
Imrahil.
talk about.
There was
Right.
another prince that was of a different area, and he was
Something like that.
He considered himself to be sworn to Gondor, and then he does say when they're out in the tents because Aragorn doesn't want to go into the city, that like so therefore Aragorn is his king, but currently he's steward of Gondor, and so until he can pass it over to Faramir, he has to be in charge of Gondor. But it didn't seem like he was going to fight as a pretender. He was just going to try to take
that was more of just a procedural thing than an actual
And I'm glad they covered it, right? Because Aragorn's basically right. Like, for all intents and purposes, while Aragorn is the legitimate king, Gondor doesn't know him. And the only thing that history is going to remember is that Aragorn and his army were the last men standing at the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Gondor's army is nowhere to be seen. Mordor's army is nowhere to be seen. Aragorn comes in, and so all the details are going to get lost, and he's going to be remembered as a conqueror, you know?
Yes.
And it's like, holy shit, that's some fucking foresight, you know? Like, that
well,
was
part of it is there's other things he has to fulfill, like coming in as a healer, which is what he ends up doing with Eowyn later, and like there's elements of it that are going to be, and thus it was fulfilled due to prophecy type.
Right.
So
because that comes a little bit later, and like they have to ask him in, and he's like, I'm here for the healing bits, and then they were like, ah shit, that's also part of the prophecy. So
we should make you king.
Right.
So the details were that after the battle, and Aragorn's gonna just be in a tent outside of because he's a ranger, so-called, and he doesn't want to sleep in some form of stone city. It's unusual to him, whatever, that was his excuse, as well as he didn't want to be a conqueror. But Gandalf convinced him that he needed to go into the Houses of Healing to heal Merry, Eowyn, and Faramir because they'd all been damaged by Mordor, essentially.
Right.
And this is the conversation about Kingsfoil and Athelas that they lifted from this book and put it into Sam in the first book, in the first movie. And there's this old woman of like, it's just a weed. We don't really keep it around. Of course we don't have it. And then, but she rattles off some form of old poem that says like something, it'll be healing in the hands of kings, but there are no more kings around. And after some back and forth with a nerd, Aragorn finally gets the leaves, and apparently just crushing it up, putting it in water is what's magically going to heal, except it probably just had to be Aragorn who did it. It's kind of back and forth of like, is it the plant that did it, or is it the fact that Aragorn did it, or is it whatever?
Yeah. So you don't know how magical components work, and they have to feed your spells and all of that stuff. But yeah, and also like she's got that, but like don't they find it because there's an old man, you know, who just like happens to keep some around or something like that. It's like
he's
just sitting there and it grows on him.
Right. I think they just found it like in someone's garden or something, and they had culled it like 2 weeks prior. Was it good enough still? Is it just because it was a weed and they were trying to throw away? But whatever herbologist they have at the House of Healing, it's the annoying kind of pencil pushing nerd that would say like, oh, she thinks of old folk tales that don't do anything. We haven't found any form of medicinal purpose with this other than some people use it for headaches.
Yeah. Lucky that guy survived.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, if you're going to be a king, you have to deal with bureaucrats and or healthcare workers.
Yeah, apparently.
Same difference, really. Like, if you want to see a more perfect bureaucracy than the medical field, like, give me a break. So,
nurses
in the medical field.
Councilman.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I still want to rewind even more, but these are all good scenes.
Rewind. Who cares?
Like it's interesting, you know, the whole affectation from the movie with the, you know, beacons are lit and all of that nonsense, where it's just like that happens while they're on the road. Like Gondor called for aid because they're not idiots and they saw what was coming and whatever. And so Gandalf explains that to Pippin, but they had nothing to do with that, So that was one of the bigger deviations, especially early on. Like obviously you collapse like 20 dudes into like one dude more or less, with Éomer. Like it gets more egregious in the Battle of Pelennor Fields because there's like a bunch of captains with Theoden when he goes down. And Éomer is still off doing his own thing, in the book and whatever. And he comes up and they like split his grief into two parts. Like, sorry, they combine two parts from the book into like one scene almost with the whole where he finds, Éowyn and all of that stuff. So that was kind of interesting because it was like, and then grief took him and then grief took him again, type of thing. And it's like, it's a bad day,
The Griffin part 2.
Yeah, right. You can retitle this book. Éomer has a very good a very bad, no good day.
Pretty much.
So, but yeah, Theoden's speech also was like, quite a bit different. I feel like it bookended the same,
So I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back to the movie, but I think that Theoden gives a speech about when they're about to do the attack. Mm-hmm. That is what he said in Helm's Deep.
Oh, okay.
I think they just they took that and put it in a different spot.
Mm-hmm. What, before the battle when he's talking about the sun going down in the west? Or the days have gone down.
I think it was as they were trying to charge out. I'd have to look at it again, but it sounded just exactly what I remember him saying, like for Wrath, for Ruin, and for a Red Dawn or something. But then the one was for Red Nightfall.
He says it in both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the Red Dawn.
Yeah. And then it's the world's ending in Pelennor Fields.
Yeah.
That he ends it with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little interesting too to get like a scope of the battle and stuff too, because you get like, Theoden and a few others are like specifically bothered by how many of the riders made it and how many soldiers they have, and then you get another counting when they decide to go to the Black Gate and things like that. So it's like you can kind of tell the before and after pictures and how few people kind of, in a way, like it's a massive battle and one of the biggest in Middle Earth and everything like that, and yet 7,000 cavalry still seems a little light compared to what they're going up against,
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, it is. I mean, even I don't remember if the numbers are exactly the same, but even in the next battle at the Black Gate, it's 10,000 compared to what they've already been whittled down to.
Right.
Or from even on both sides. So you have what the army was that the 7,000 were going up against, and then you have what it is now of 10,000 versus, those 6 guys.
Right. Well, and it was cool to get more details about that too, because you get a little bit of the whole and then we marched into Mordor and we ended up actually having to police a couple of crossroads. So we left a few thousand dudes behind, and then these guys were chicken shit. So we told them to go hold that tower instead. And, just some logistical stuff that would have, broke up the pacing of the movie, obviously. But, it's just fun, some of those details, and getting into the fact that it's we won, but we're still afraid of Mordor, and we're in the lands of the enemy now. The mouth, Sauron's mouth, because that's pretty much the ending and everything like that of book 5. It's a lot more drawn out, and I feel like the movie captures it decently well, but he's really leaning into the whole we got Frodo and we know he was a dear friend of yours and that's got to suck. But it's, everyone's yeah, but you don't know, you don't know what Frodo was doing. So we call bullshit. And even if you did get him, it doesn't matter, so, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. So, but I don't know. Well, I feel like we deviated. You wanted to talk about Faramir.
I thought it was a good thing to start as a topic. Yeah. I don't know. Faramir's fun.
Faramir's really bad at war. Okay. So he gets shot, and then he goes back and almost dies from it. But he's really
So-
good at being a good guy.
I was going to say, by that logic, Boromir's worse at war because he
So
gets
you what you're
shot
saying
more
is
and dies.
Fermi are at a really no good bad day. How was it you phrased that one?
Yeah, right.
No
Yeah,
good, very
a
bad
no good,
day.
very bad day. Yeah. So yeah,
Kramer had a pretty bad one.
I mean, we could just oversimplify and be like Gondor, and it's very bad. No good day, but
Middle Earth.
Man, when you move in next to Mordor, though, I mean, gonna
Well,
have.
they
I
do
was going to say Mordor ends up having a no good, very bad day in the end. So
yeah,
Yeah,
like
but that day
the
is
bad
like
day to
in a
end all
month.
days. Yeah,
really, the only one who doesn't have a no good, very bad day is Gimli.
that's
Gimli
true.
is great.
He's having the time of his life always. So
I mean, I guess the running part he wasn't exactly
He
his face.
didn't like the ghosts. He did not like going to the paths of the dead. Which is a great line of like what has happened when an elf is more willing to go into a cave than a dwarf.
right. Yeah.
I think that's the only way he convinces himself to actually go in there.
Yeah.
Like, if the goddamn dwarf is going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, can you blame him? Like, there's actual
Like, hell
like,
no, I'm not going in
ghosts
there.
in
Are you
there.
crazy?
Like the only thing to mine in there is skeletons. Like, no, that's no, I'm out.
Like, if I had to ask you to describe certain death, I think this would be in like the top 5, and we're just going to go in there and have a conversation. Okay, Aragorn, like,
List of things involving certain death. Well, setting yourself on fire on a pyre with oil, facing down the Witch King with the wrong genitalia,
Big true.
Yeah.
going into the caves of the dead.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm with you on the Witch King thing, but there's a 50-50 chance of survival. So it doesn't seem all that deadly. Like, lighting yourself on fire, I think, is more lethal than facing down with the Witch King. Just saying.
I specifically said with the wrong genitalia, so I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you're dead.
Yeah.
Unless
Well,
you're
I know I'm
Aragorn
dead.
on Weathertop and you're just throwing, fucking hands at every wraith that comes along.
Yeah. I've got a selection of, barely 5 foot tall warrior women that I'm going to send in my stead when the Witch King comes out. But, other than that,
It's
so
called
about the Witch King.
yeah.
Very important detail that they did not show in the movies because they cut out Tom Bombadil.
Oh no.
I mean, so because they cut out Bombadil,
So the
there
Witch
was
King had
no
blue boots. Did I miss that? Yellow
There
boots?
was-
They didn't see when he came
Barrel
down
light.
from the sky in a tube of lightning to strike down the Witch King right before Eowyn could do it.
as the hobbits were leaving Bombadil, they got attacked by a Barrow Wight, and then they took a bunch of equipment from that Barrow Wight when Bombadil saved
Right.
them.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mary had a sword from the Barrow Wight. That Wight was an ancient enemy of King Angmar that was the Witch King.
Oh, okay.
And so it was
Yeah.
ensorcelled specifically to
Yes,
be
it was a
his
special
enemy.
blade that could stab him and hurt
Right.
him.
Yes, and
That's
so
right. Okay.
Mary stabbed him with the Barrow Wight sword, and that's what allowed Eowyn to actually kill him. And that is an important little detail that's called out in the book, but you can't get that in the movie because they cut out Bombadil, which I still agree is.
I thought you were going to be like, "Oh my God, what is that? It's Tom Bombadil with a steel chair," So, but,
I would take that cut.
yeah. But yeah, you're right. I do remember them going like, it looks like Pippin's about to die right now, but what you don't realize is 2 books ago.
Yeah, right. It would be like
They did some grave
it would be
robbing.
like a Tarantino narrator over thing. It's like, well, actually,
Yeah, right.
when this journey first began. But I mean, you can still squeeze that into. I mean, a hobbit's not a man, so you could still he could hurt him based on that too.
Yeah,
Right.
but the narration specifically of the book said it was that old spell, that old hatred that the enemies are for forever.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta, shank a bitch.
In his knee.
You guys thought it was diamonds, but you're all fools. It was enemies. So,
Those were the friends we made along the way.
because in secret, another hatred was made. So,
I'm pretty sure there were a lot of those.
yeah,
Under
right.
the hill.
Like one day, Deagle's ghost is gonna come back and be like, "What the fuck?"
Right. Like, dude gets murdered on his birthday by his brother. How is there not a revenant out of that? Like,
Right.
or a ghost
They're
or a
brothers?
poltergeist
Oh,
or
that's not right.
Because you know what? Because he's busy feasting in the halls of
The
Valhalla
bro-
or some shit.
they're named Deagle and Smeagol, and you didn't realize there was a familiar relation outside of the fact that it's like,
I thought
oh,
they were
by the way,
cousins.
I
Whatever.
you guys are gonna fucking start taking shots at my ankles on this bullshit.
Well, I don't think they were brothers. I mean, I know in the movies they were just friends, but I don't think they were brothers. I could be
I don't
wrong.
know. But families like that, cousins who grow up
Cousin and
together.
best friend. All right. Still, like, all right.
I just figured though, like
Really, what should have happened is
the
Frodo
names,
should have
it was just the style of the times, like they had similar sounding names.
Frodo should have choked the life out of Pippin in the same way, because that would have been history repeating itself.
Yeah, but he's got to wait in line behind Gandalf. Like,
Yeah, don't deny Gandalf.
I'll
either.
fucking choke the shit out of this.
I was gonna say that's too easy. Gandalf, that's too easy for Gandalf. He'll just like poke him down a well. See how you like it,
Well.
bitch.
told you next time you can throw yourself in.
Here, let me show you how.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Man, we could
Although
just like
once Merry
completely
get a little
remake Lord of the
taller, I don't know.
Rings
I don't know if Frodo can take him anymore.
to like a quippy comedy.
See, and it's funny too, because I was like, it's a shame that Ben's not here, because I would have definitely said this to push his buttons, but I'm like, we need the like Honor Among Thieves like cut of Lord of the Rings where it's like from one of the Hobbits' perspective. And so like you get the rock and roll music and Pippin, like, it's a good thing I've got this magic sword as he like stabs the Witch King, and
Merry.
it's just like whatever.
Narrating
They're the
how
same,
they had
they're
never
twins.
heard of second breakfasts and
Right.
how
Yeah.
terrible that was.
Can you believe this guy's never heard of Second Breakfast? Like, yeah. Another 20 years or so, they'll do
I was gonna say this sounds more like the Pineapple Express cut, because it's just a stoner. It's like going around doing shit.
Dude, don't tell me the Hobbits aren't like stoners.
I know, they're just always hungry and want to,
and smoking. Like,
Yeah. When they find, Saruman's like magic weed, like that's for sure weed.
right. We just had an epic battle that all we had to do is sit on somebody's shoulder and watch.
Time
So
to
what
get
are the
fucking
first two
high
things
and
we're
eat
going to
some
do?
ham.
Exactly. We're going to smoke and eat some like smoked pig, like salted pork. But yeah.
The salted pork is particularly is it delicious? He says it's the rest
Something
of the
like
line is
that.
correct. Something like that.
Yeah.
I love that scene. Like that might, I don't know. That might be my favorite scene in Lord of the Rings. I just really, really like it. Just Gimli's face and everything. That's a movie thing anyway. So book talk.
Yep. Not only is that a movie thing, it's last movie, right? So,
Yeah.
geez.
But it's so good. Like, I'm gonna rewatch
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been looking forward to watching the movie for a while, so like I understand, wanting to watch the movie and everything, but we've all seen the movie, guys. We've all seen the movie a bunch of times. So we were trying something new, Andreas.
Yeah,
we were
we are.
reading.
Yeah.
Kind of like some of you people got into Dresden from watching the show. Maybe you should give the books a try. Like,
if there's anybody out there in our audience that still has only watched the show and listens to us still, thank you. Please pay us more.
Thank you. Also, what
I
are
was
you
going
doing?
a different direction with
Like,
that,
what
but
are you doing?
No, I'm happy for the views, but I would rather have the money too.
obviously, yeah.
So if you can get on that, I would be really surprised if there's anybody who's watching us who's only ever watched the show.
That would be very strange.
It would be hilarious to me.
Right. They'd be so lost like 80 or 90% of the time. They really enjoyed the casting episodes though.
Yeah.
But
Well, they just be like, oh man,
Well, someone has to.
right.
these future seasons sound like some bangers, dude. I can't wait.
This and Firefly, it's coming back, I swear.
Yeah.
I mean, Dresden might actually be coming back,
No, I stop.
or rather, starting.
Been saying that for 15 years too.
Yeah. if it was, I don't think the writer's strike has done it any favors. So
I was going to say, I would put it as only slightly more likely than us actually getting Winds of Winter and A Song of Spring.
How dare these fucking writers want to be paid for my entertainment?
I'm assuming that's sarcasm. Everybody, don't kill him. So
You can't
No,
do
no,
it?
kill him. Kill him anyway.
Come on, I was really trying to be sarcastic here.
Yes,
it was pretty
trying.
dry. I was just making sure everybody else understood. So
It was as dry as a Danish pastry.
Hey, listen here, you little shit. We have delicious pastry here.
You do.
Our
I just
Danish is not from Denmark.
right, which is what makes
They're
it good.
pastry.
I assume.
I will fucking murder you.
I mean, it's in a long line of European tradition. Like French fries aren't from France. Belgian waffles probably aren't from Belgium. Danishes aren't from Danish land. You know,
Denmark, come on! Put some respect on it, just a little bit.
Earn it.
I said Danish land with as much respect as I could manage. So
And even that was tough. Although, if there was a land of Danishes out there, that would be a place worth checking out.
I think
it's
that's
called
France.
Austria.
Yeah. France, Austria, Belgium. I'd start looking there, and then you probably couldn't go too wrong. You'd probably find a bunch of other things you'd be happy about, except one big caveat. If you go to France, they've got like the world's largest concentration of French people. So you got to watch out for that. So,
Well, outside of Quebec. but-
Oh, I could make such a good joke, but it would probably just be European only who would get it.
okay.
never mind.
I want you to try it now.
I was going to say that smug
you-
Euro
so-
Euro mentality.
In reply, I mean, I'm already laughing. But in reply to it's full of French people, they're gonna say, yeah, and Somalians.
Is that because the pirates keep going there?
It's because there's a lot of Somalians in France.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I was waiting for the funny. So
Yeah,
But that is funny. It's also a little itchy. So.
It's funny
have
when you
no
don't
mind,
see
but-
the sun for 7 months out of the year and you think,
see, that's
We're not-
funny.
I'm not in Sweden, okay? We have like a month of summer here, not just a week. We're good.
whoa.
Look at all that
4
vitamin
times as
D.
much summer per summer.
A
Yeah, you
month
gotta
where
get
it
your-
probably gets up to like 70 degrees. Woo!
No, it's that's between 25 and 30 like these days.
Yeah, Fahrenheit versus Celsius. 70 degrees. He's like a barbecue, you know. But
Yeah, I use real measurements, not these American.
Yeah, imagine knowing that 0's really cold and 100's really hot, and somehow you think yours is better.
Let's just talk about the book instead of roasting me.
Oh, 32 is
Oh,
really
now you
cold,
wanna talk
but
about the
60 is
book.
really hot. It's like, what the fuck is that?
let's talk about the book that I didn't read. So
I read it.
Did you?
I've read
like the
Return
whole
of the
thing.
King. I've read
I've
Return of the
read
King.
a book. Is what
Yeah.
all I heard just then.
I have read Return of the King, the whole book.
When?
Recently,
Defined recently?
in the past year.
So in the beginning, with the Big
There
Bang,
were words.
it's more recent than that. Like, you
It's
know.
more recent than the Big Bang, that's for sure. That's
Yeah.
for damn sure.
But not that much more recent.
possibly since the fall of Rome, he's also read this book.
For sure, 100%.
I was going to say, now, when you say the fall of Rome, you mean the last time he read Codex Alera, and now is the time in which he's read Return of the King?
That's a good question. I don't know. That might
Yeah.
be too specific.
Yeah, he looks like he's trying to think about timelines.
I'm like, do we have Plead the Fifth here? I'm not sure, but I'm
No.
You're all Americans. I'm going with Plead the Fifth.
No,
One,
we.
this isn't a court of
we
law.
plead the fifth,
Two,
you
you're not
have to-
American. You don't have a Fifth Amendment.
But you're all American. You gotta respect your own constitution, right?
You
Not
don't
when
get
it
any
applies to
human
foreigners.
rights.
So yeah, Plead the Fifth. Plead the Fifth.
Don't you know anything about
Ah,
Guantanamo
Lord.
Bay? We don't have to respect foreigners at all.
Right.
Lawyer.
Yeah, you're overseas. You're
Lawyer.
going to a black site until we beat the answer out of you. That's
Oh.
how
No,
we deal with
not
foreigners, so-
Guantanamo. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, you're going to see
No,
what real
they-
summer feels
They
like.
shut that down. They moved all the prisoners to different black sites that weren't as
Have you
famous.
seen the Yelp
so-
reviews for that place?
Oh, geez.
Not good.
So anyway, the book. Speaking of black sites, Mordor. Am I right?
Whoa.
Like,
Oh yeah,
the
true.
Black
dude.
Gate,
What a
the Black
segue
Tower,
we just got there.
you know. They literally
not the
beat the
Sauron
shit
dude, it's
out of
very weird.
Gollum to find Frodo's name. So,
Yep.
you know.
I mean, to be fair, Gollum needs a good ass whooping a lot more than he actually gets.
He's got a couple hundred years worth of, Waiata built up. So, but then that whole thing with, Shelob from the last book.
Now there's the guy who fucks spiders.
No.
When my brother introduced me to this phrase and he had to show me the interview where he found it, like that was very quickly one of the things that came up. It's like Shelob maybe, and it's like stupid sexy Shelob. So like,
Wasn't that
it's-
in that was in one of the games where they made her into like a hot lady?
What?
Oh,
I think it
really?
was-
How
yeah, it
would
was
you
like
do
one of the-
that?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember which one it was.
I mean, sexy spider ladies are a thing in fantasy, but you don't need to do that
right.
to Shelob.
But they did.
Why would you
No,
do
they gave her like a human form or something.
Hmm.
What
was it a sexy
from?
human form?
Yes, of course, because
Yeah.
It's a
Mm.
video game.
what is
It-
this from? It was Shadow of War. Yeah,
That's what it was. Okay.
yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War.
So Eurogamer.net to plug somebody. Why Shelob is a woman in Shadow of War. But yeah, like I vaguely remember, but it's one of those things that it's like, look, man, like I could be as thirsty as the next guy, but I've got my head screwed on straight as far as like we don't need to like anthropomorphize and make everything sexy. I don't do sexy zombies. I don't do sexy spiders. Like, there's this whole thing, like a subsection of the Destiny community that's like, what if this gun was a hot woman? And it's like, is this an anime thing? I'm too not a weeb
Probably.
to understand, like what is the draw here? So
Okay,
Danger is exciting. Anything that's exciting is going to become sexy. That's the weird.
the gun's got a
brainstem
hole,
logic.
guys. If you're that turned on by danger, like fuck it with it loaded and the safety off. But how am I the bad guy here? I'm just saying, what the fuck is this fetishization?
We've gone
I mean,
from
if
Lord of the
people
Rings
will stick
to
it
fuck your
in car
gun.
exhaust, I'm sure someone has
Like-
stuck it in a gun.
Oh my God.
or the other way, for sure the other way around. A gun has gone up holes.
So anyway, the Witch Queen, like totally different thing.
I was gonna say that definitely exists somewhere. Don't even kid
Oh
yourself.
no, yeah.
Okay,
I've
so-
been on the internet long enough to know that I'm not going to even bother searching for certain things because I know it exists. But
Andreas
I just-
has a folder. He'll share it with you later.
Yeah,
right,
but
I just don't
so
understand.
Can we meet? So you said zombies no go and the insects, but sexy vampires. We can meet there, right? Just
No,
let's co-
yeah. So vampires are supposed to be sexy, though, right? Like that's part of their superpower, right? So yeah, like you can get it too far. Like I'm not talking like if the red court shows up and sheds their skin, like that doesn't do anything for me, right? Like I don't do sexy monsters, period. Like the closest you almost get to where it's like, yeah, I'm in danger and maybe I can think about this is the stupid nurses from Silent Hill, right? Because they're not like, you don't see anything, right? But like when they try to be like, oh yes, your leg is fallen off and twisted backwards, but you're wearing a skirt, zombies, and it's just like zombie pinups. No, what the fuck is wrong with you? They're zombies. Like
Aren't the nurses in Silent Hill's face like fucked up?
it's covered in a bandage usually, from what I remember. So
You don't need to.
like
look
you
at
might
her.
see an eye, but
You can put a bag over, I guess.
So I'd like to subscribe to your magazine, but anyway, so but
I
yeah,
don't
like
want I don't want any of these
who-
magazines.
who sat there and was like, you know what Shelob needs? She needs to have a human form. Like,
The
that's
The
what
people
I'm
who made
saying,
Shadow
like,
of War.
right. So, like,
Shelob does
like-
not need to have a human form. Shelob is not human. Shelob
But
is
she gets
not even a
to.
spider. So
She
she's
doesn't need
very.
to. She gets. to.
yeah,
What is she then? Technically,
she's
And
a
then
spider.
you can bump it up and do Ungoliant because that's basically like making a sexy Lovecraft monster, which I, imagine Justin has the folder of.
Stupid. Yeah, no. Again, no. So also not into tentacles, surprisingly, but yeah, stupid, sexy Balrogs anyway.
No,
but-
I
yeah, like-
I would have picked the director for the tentacles because she's got the anime body pillow as we established earlier.
sure.
No. I thought you were just going to make a joke about me being Japanese.
No, that would be easy. What are you talking about? So what are we doing?
This has gone so off the rails.
Oh, right, Faramir.
Yeah. So
Poor
people not
Faramir.
tempted by stupid, sexy Shelob, Faramir, at top of the
Yeah.
First of all,
So,
he would
like-
definitely be tempted by stupid sexy Shelob. Who are you kidding?
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he
He's got
would.
a perfectly plain, good-looking girl at home, you know. So
Not until
Like,
the last
and
bit of this, and
she's
she
a
war
almost
hero.
died.
So yeah,
I don't think Faramir had anyone to keep him company until now he's recovering in the same room that Eowyn is.
Right.
are you trying to infer that Faramir was a virgin up until? Sorry. Anyway,
Oh,
but
probably.
you
I
were just
mean-
like nobody's kept his bed warm. It's like Jesus, Burns, slow down, director.
Well, it's just like Denethor hates him, and he's always saying like, "Go off, do this, go off and die, do like this horrible
Good thing
thing."
he's
It's just
already in
like,
the medical ward because director's just piling the burns on.
I was gonna say Denethor was nothing compared to her.
Right? Like we know Denethor's gotten busy because he's got 2 sons, but you know, like
but that's the only evidence.
yeah.
Boromir and
Gandalf
Faramir
is
had
sitting there in
sons,
the
so
corner. He's
therefore,
like, "I'm
no
the
evidence.
wielder.
Look,
I'm the
man,
wielder of the
if-
secret fire, and no one can heal that burn."
oh man.
Incel Faramir. Look what we've done. Look at what this is what you wanted to talk about. This is what you wanted to bring up Faramir for. Just
Look,
the,
he did hide in a cave with like 30 other dudes, so yeah.
that doesn't
like,
make him a virgin.
But
That's true. You know what? I'll retract that. The only people he had around were men.
Okay, so what you do with your rangers in the woods during wartime. You just got to say no Rohan, and it's all good. Or I guess it would be no Romo in this case.
we yeah, we already know that they didn't have saddles because they weren't particularly accomplished
Oh God, no.
horsemen, so
Mhm. I'm glad we did this topic today.
Have we really done this topic? I guess.
Well, we've done most of an episode, and
mean,
enough
what
of it had Lord of the Rings involved in it.
yeah, what do we want to talk about? The Battle of Pelennor Fields is awesome. Do we break it all down for you?
I was going to say, what more do you need?
Beacons were lit. The wraiths showed up.
So the
Aragorn
Battle of
didn't
Pelennor
conquer
Fields,
Gondor.
Also,
They
I would
went
like
to
to point
Blackgate.
out, as much as I enjoy the beacon lighting scene in the movie, there are a lot of those sections where it's like, how the fuck is anybody up on that mountaintop? Just they live there.
Right.
You live
Right.
there. Don't lie to
Right.
me. You don't live there.
Like you'd basically have to have an entire settlement to like take care of that beacon
Yes.
because like when's the shift change? Who's giving them supplies? Like
No, it's just the
you
same
know,
two
like-
random villagers living on top of Everest until one day they decide to
Right.
light this shit on fire.
right.
Meanwhile, it's like 17 Everests in a
Right.
row. So
Badass scene though. It's
No,
better
it's
than
great.
someone running out with a red arrow, whatever that means, and then that guy died.
see, what
anyway.
Gandalf should have done is he should have strapped Pippin to a firework and shot him at the thing. And then
Problem is only one Pippin, so you got to find more halflings for the
Yeah,
next
you know,
fire. And
he knows where to get more. They're in the Shire. They're not doing anything.
I mean, the smoking weed and eating.
Right. He can,
Yeah.
there you go. Gandalf can stock up and go get another hobbit.
right.
It's a shopping trip, is what it is. What do I need? I need companions and some of that fine
Cannon
hobbit
fodder.
You got some of that halfling's leaf, please. How much do you need? Well, I've got a cart, so another cart. And then he goes to Lothlorien and gets all the lembas bread because he got the munchies.
I thought you would eat something delicious when you have the munchies, not. bread that
Everything's
fills
delicious
you
when you
up.
have the munchies. That's why it's so fun.
He's spoken like someone who's never had a good pastry, even though he's named after a pastry place. Oh, lembas bread, that's stupid. Lembas bread is just like really good military rations, it sounds like.
It's hardtack, but elvish.
So it's probably, got sugar in it.
Probably had no meat in it. Hardtack had meat, didn't it? So
No, not hardtack. It might have had a little bit of like butter, but I doubt it because it was just like flour and water and then dried over a really long period of time, so it would stay fine for a really long time. You're thinking of pemmican.
Maybe.
That's what we should make for Andreas when he finally comes over here.
Pemmican. Yeah.
No, hardtack.
Oh, both.
He'll probably think it's a delicacy because he's probably never had anything better. I've seen his pizza.
Yeah. Flashbacks.
Those still exist in the archives.
Oh, are you going to defend your pizza, Andreas?
No. He's just going to go get some now after he burns his potatoes again.
No, I'm going to go make Danish meatballs or meatloaf. I'm not sure.
Out of potatoes?
Why do they got to be Danish meatballs? What makes them Danish?
Slightly different recipe.
Yeah, like I understand Swedish meatballs, but what the fuck makes them Danish?
No,
different recipe.
Are they balls?
You want to know what the difference is between them and Swedish meatballs, or your?
No, do you put something in them that makes them Danish?
Yeah, Danish people.
No, the recipe's just different. Therefore, they're Danish.
What recipe? It's a ball of meat. You take meat, you put it in a ball.
Fricadelle are often egg-shaped using spoons instead of a
I would say it's different spices, but there's no fucking spices in that area of the world. So
it's pork and salt and pepper in a binding agent. I use potato flour. It's milk. It's eggs, and it's like.
So it's not kosher.
Shredded onions.
You expect a Danish to be kosher?
Right.
Yes. I think they have a vast Jewish population.
They might have had once.
So this has been whatever our podcast is, because it doesn't matter, because this was the final episode again of while we weren't recording.
Oh,
how is what I have said worse than what you said of advocating sexual action with a gun?
I'm just saying, if you're into that sort of thing, I got some ideas on how to up the danger. Like,
why do you?
And that was on a person-to-person basis. Like, at no points did I reference the Holocaust, for Christ's sake. Like,
now, if you want, so when we're talking about fucking a gun,
no, we're not.
I'm
muting you.
Is something like a blunderbuss? Is that like a really experienced prostitute? But like a 9mm is like.
Would you like to tell us? So.
I
think he's just asking.
Do we need?
I just want
do we need to compare our calibers? Like,
yeah.
Sheesh, man! You only been with a 44?
I've been with.
I mean, I was going to start.
It's like you liar.
But yeah.
All right. Well, we filled that time in. So good for us.
It's not the only thing being filled, apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey.
I was thinking it. You said it.
Well, before we went on, Andreas did mention how he was full of cream. So
listen, that was private and personal.
It was, and now it's public and embarrassing for you.
I'm a creep.
Okay, Faramir, calm down.
No, Andreas wouldn't be in a cave for 3 months with a bunch of rangers.
He'd scare them away with his pizza.
That's true.
Somebody needs to cook the potatoes, like
potatoes.
He's not boiling them or mashing them or sticking them in a stew.
If you find
meatballs out,
they would have become mash right now. It'll be too overcooked.
So what are you gonna do with them now?
They're fine. I'm gonna make potato salad.
What?
What?
Why are you wasting potatoes on potato salad? Make something good.
I like potato salad. It's hot.
You like all sorts of stupid things.
I like potato salad. It's great when it's hot, and it's hot. So I'm making potato salad.
What? Like normal. It's hot outside. What do you want? Ice cream? No, I want potato salad, please.
You don't need ice cream for dinner.
You're an adult. You can do what you want.
Are you an adult?
Yes, clearly that has led me well so far.
Oh, right, because potato salad is such a healthy alternative.
I'm making it with like not mayo. I'm using like Greek yogurt. Okay, it's healthier.
That solves everything. All the calories of the potatoes and everything else you put in it solved because you didn't put mayo in it.
The calories in potatoes is actually not that bad.
And don't forget the not Swedish.
Veggies would be better, but it's not bad.
Swedish meatballs and potato salad. breakfast of
You
champions.
should make the Danish meatballs again, Alex. So, like, it's good eating.
I quite enjoyed them. That'll be in a few months.
What happens in a few months? Is there?
Then I'll be on a bulk. At the moment, I'm cutting weight.
What weight?
What weight? Yeah.
It's see. I do this frequently. This is how I don't get too big.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I mean, just be careful.
You mean the walk down to the Indian place back and
She's
forth? doesn't
she's
do
so
it?
like I once. I mean, I don't. No, I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, now you're gonna show restraint? Now?
I don't know. That seems like dangerous territory to say. Like I don't know.
What's she gonna do? Hit you? She's many miles away, and she's cutting weight, so her punches have no heft to them. Oh, he's out.
We're gonna have to use the cruise missiles then. So
Ooh, that would be good.
I thought those were saved for Russia when the Civil War breaks out.
We have extras.
giving them to Ukraine. What do you?
I was going to say the one thing we are not out of is cruise missiles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, these ones were specifically designed to fight Russia like 30 to 50 years ago. Like we haven't even gotten to the modern shit.
If anything, we're just making room for the good stuff now.
Right.
If there's two things to know about the American military, it's that you got cruise missiles and incompetent people in the Navy.
You got to really expand. Like, you're not wrong, but I'm saying you could know more than two things very easily. Like,
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's incompetent people in all the branches.
Exactly.
But that Navy is what secures your shipping lanes, so show some respect.
when you guys aren't chasing Russian dolphins, then
So anyway, this has been an episode of the While We're Recording podcast.
Yeah, you don't even know what it's been an episode of.
This was extraordinarily unhinged, but it was probably very entertaining.
it was special for us and for having a topic, even, but
I would like
if you'd like more, you could do the wrong thing and you could give us more money to encourage
you should
us.
definitely give us more money. This is what happens when you try and start a topic with Faramir.
Right?
Apparently. I thought he was like a safe topic.
No,
I was like, we could
you
just
were
be
wrong.
all nice and calm with him, and
We
I did
saw
not
through
expect it
your
to go where it did. We should have another podcast just extraordinarily unhinged. What just name
Isn't
that?
that just this
How many of these
podcast?
do you want us to have? We're going to have like negative viewers at a certain point.
It's possible. I don't do this for viewers.
True.
All right. So we have Patreon and something else. Give us that.
Yeah. Give us a couple bucks and then you can join us on Discord, and we'll be this unhinged on Discord talking about how we don't fuck spiders.
Or you could, just make suggestions and we could talk about different things.
To be
Join
fair,
the conversation to change it.
whatever you suggest is likely not going to go pretty much the same. Just be advised. That's how this topic works. So if you have something you're really invested in us talking about, don't suggest it.